Joining us now is a man who's picking who's coming and going from his building. General Manager of the Los Angeles Rams. Ladies and gentlemen, Les Snead.
How's it going, guys?
Is there a drawing? I can't see. Is there a drawing over your shoulder?
You know what? Hold on 1 second. I'll leave the screen. It's right here. There we go.
Okay. I thought I caught it.
But we took it down. It was the building said, you know what, we've had enough. Take that one down. Go back to the DL. You know what I mean?
I like that. Celebrate that.
Who needs a has-been punter on the wall?
Amen, brother. Put that D-line up. That's incredibly young, and is an absolute problem for the NFL for the rest of time, we would assume. How do you feel coming out of the draft? And before we get into that, shout out to you guys for doing your draft at a firehouse, I believe, there in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I assume that was a very cool interaction for everybody, for all parties. And anytime you can showcase some appreciation to the badasses who are serving our communities, especially firefighters. I have family members that are firefighters. We're talking about sprinting towards the flames. The flames are a natural run away from her for everybody. A repellent. Everybody runs away from flames. Firefighters run towards them at all times. So mad respect, especially with everything going on out there, for you guys to do that. How'd that idea come about? And what was it like as an experience?
It was I think living it was, the ideas on paper was like, wow, this is really cool based on all that Cali's been through. Not necessarily this year, but California's used to this. Like, as you said, Mother Nature throws its best pitch, and these first responders run right toward it. So, but going there and living it with them, I can't even paint the picture of how really, really cool and emotional, because they really appreciated it. They do some, like you said, when I think Sean and I did that video, and there was a whole thing about making that call. And I think at the end of the day, when we dial that number to call them, we're not calling them to say, you know what, we appreciate all you do. We're calling them to go, oh my, Mother Nature's coming at us. We're going to run the other way, but we need you to run into it. So that's an important call. They are badasses.
Badasses. And I think, I don't think I've ever been for an air fire department. Never been there. A lot of good chefs in there, because they're all cooking. Some of them cook for each other.
Our draft room, obviously it's a fire station, and it was a big hangar, because it's where the helicopters, it's where they go fight the fire. Let's call it the wildfires or whatever we call them out here. So big hangar, but there was a kitchen right there, and what was it? They were always cooking. They have a weight room. They're kind of like you. They're wearing some tank tops, look a little buff.
Love the boys.
And then what was really cool was at the end of the night, all of them did the cleaning. Like, all of a sudden we were leaving the firehouse. That was one of the moments, like, wow, I think I am spoiled, because as we were leaving, everyone who was there fighting fire by day, on call at night, you know what? They're mopping the floors. They're cleaning up. Really, really, I think we could all go to spend a year with the fire department and get better.
Hell yeah.
Be better people on the other side of that.
Hell yeah. Thanks for your service.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for your service.
Give them.
Okay, we'll talk about your first pick that you made from the fire department. You go with a tight end. Why was this your decision? Was it best available in your eyes, or are we trying to load up even more on an offense that is already successful?
A little bit of both. I think we went into the draft, especially where we were positioned back in the late part of the first round, and often call it the cost of winning sometimes, because you're always picking a little later than you want. But we did have some positions that we thought would help us more. And if the right player fell at those positions, let's go attack. And I think obviously we have a really good tight end room. We have a lot of veterans. Everyone in our room right now has played football. Tyler Higbee's been with us since Sean's been here. But I know there's an element of Tyler being at the end of his career, who's going to replace him, and then just adding another tight end to the field. I think when Sean McVay came to us from the Washington, they weren't the Commanders then. Don't know if I could say their old nickname these days.
Football team, Football team.
Yeah, the football team. Well, they did a lot of 12 personnel, so maybe we'll add a little bit of that to our repertoire. But end of the day, good position. We like the player as well, and the person.
I love whenever you think about getting even more dynamic, especially whenever you're talking about a Sean McVay offense and Matthew Stafford there for yet another year in that offense. They seemingly know each other inside and out at this point. Get him another weapon. Go ahead, AJ.
Les, I believe you guys traded up 3 times on day 3. Can you talk us through like what kind of, I guess, how that happens and continues to happen throughout that day? And is that pretty chaotic? I would assume that kind of keeps your attention and keeps you locked in on every single pick.
It definitely kept our attention. I think it was a draft, and it's cool you made that point, AJ. That we went into the draft thinking, you know what, we're going to probably trade back. That's probably a scenario that's very probable. But we also felt like we would be gaining picks in this draft. It was just fortunate for us that the Falcons really wanted to move into the first round, so we delayed our gratification when they gave us that future first round pick. So we delayed gratification. We passed a little bit of the marshmallow test, and we received the pick for next year. But we lost a pick in this year's draft when we had already been a one short with the pick we gave for Fisk last year. So I called this draft. Once we were down a pick, it was like, our board's a little thinner. If it was a baseball game, I would tell you this, AJ. You know what we were going to do in this draft? We were going to hit a single. We were going to have to steal a base. We were going to bunt the guy over the third, and we were going to sack fly him in. It was just one of those drafts where you really had to work and maneuver to grab the players, to attack the players that you felt like could come in and contribute in a role, in a vision that we have for them on the roster that we currently have.
Okay, so I didn't play baseball, but the metaphor that you just gave seemingly was, all right, we're going to give up a little bit here, but we're going to get some. Basically, right?
Yeah.
Giving up 2 outs there, but you just got the guy home with 1 hit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can't believe I confused everybody.
No, I'm not a baseball.
I confused everybody, and you just, cleared it up for everyone.
No, I was hoping that I was right. Is that yes. What he said? I'm not a baseball guy at all. I know Paul Skeens sliced up the Dodgers when he was playing them. Tell your friends over there in Los Angeles, from what I've been saying, from what I saw, at least. I don't know how great it was. Yeah, I don't know baseball that well, but that was a great indicator. Is it like that every draft, or just because of these specific players? And big boys seemingly getting rewarded more in the draft.
No doubt. I think, big boys, it's Bill Parcells, you say that it's a big man's game, right? But I think not every draft's like this. If we would have had more picks, sometimes you can allow the draft to come to you. You can wait on it a little bit, and your board's a little thicker instead of thinner, and you can pick off players that, right, there's a lot of buy-in. Because every time you go to pick, there's always, more players on the board than one. But based on the nature of our board, this draft, what positions we wanted, it was a little bit thinner. So we did feel like, okay, we need to score runs in this baseball game. We're going to have to give up something. We're going to give up some outs to score runs. But you know what? We're going to count on our pitching to hold the other team down. Hey, AJ, if I was a defensive coordinator right now, you'd be like, you know what? Can you just tell it? Give us something simple. Let us go play football. You've confused the heck out of us.
No, that's a home run, I think.
We got it. Yeah. We got it, Les. No worries. We got it. Trust your process.
This is good wood right now, everything that you're putting out there. Speaking of good wood, how about Stoner down there in Jacksonville? Did you hear his promo whenever he introduced Travis Hunter and why he made the decision that he made to trade up to 2 and give up what he gave up? He said, football is built to have its boundaries be tested and belief and everything. And he said, Travis Hunter is belief. Travis Hunter is all this thing. And the way he sold, it was a move. It was a statement to all of Jacksonville.
Amen.
Did you expect that? Did you expect that from him?
Amen. You know what? James is really gifted, definitely with let's call it a monologue, a prologue, whatever we want to call that. So he's gift for gab. He's really good at it. I would come on this show, and if I could, what did he say? I forget if I could embody my James Gladstone, I would. I just don't have that in me. Mom, Dad, God didn't give me that gift to gab like James did, but he really did sell it. He's always been a very articulate, human being. So. And he's been passionate. So when he says something, he believes it.
How do you feel about him moving up to 2 and making that play for his team?
I think that they were passionate about that player. I think they wanted to not only add a football player, but add competitiveness to their ecosystem. So they felt like, right, you know what, we got to go attack. Let's go grab this player. Just don't let the draft come to us. Let's go get the person we want that we think can not only help us on Sundays, but also give an edge to the culture they're trying to engineer down there.
Okay, let's talk about somebody you added. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Les, Davante Adams, you guys added after losing Cooper Kupp, and, Puka Nacua gives up his 17 for Davante. Did Stafford have anything to do with that in Davante, or what was that process like bringing him in for your squad this year?
Sean always, let's call it, collaborates with Matthew on some of the skill, and he was definitely all for it. So interestingly, I think Puka was going to give up 17 for 12 before Davante got in the build. Maybe he should have held that secret a little bit and maybe gotten Davante to give him a tip for that number, but he was already in the process of going to 12 based on a family history of that number. So it was perfect, right? Oh, man, we got jersey 17 open. What NFL player can we sign who wears 17? Holy cow, let's go Davante Adams.
Oh, really? That's how it all worked out, huh?
That's how it all, it's not always as complex as you think.
Yeah, I actually got a box arrived from the people at Los Angeles Rams facility over there in LA. I have a Puka Nacua autographed 12 jersey. The letter said this might be one of the first ones, Oos, from Puka. So shout out to the 12. Looks nice.
Looks real nice.
12 looks
I'm not used to that yet. I'm just not used to it yet. Gonna need to see him catch some balls in that. Well,
Oh, is it going to be weird for you at training camp? 17. Just a little bit different.
Cooper Kupp went from 18 to 10, so we had to get used to that. So I think that, we're going to have to get used to 17 to 12.
Tone has a question for you, Les.
Yeah, Les, I do. Jay Glazer reported before the draft that teams, normally have columns or things for an injured player or potentially, off the field issues. But he said this year a lot of teams, it became more prevalent that they had to add a category for doesn't love ball. Is that a real thing that's happening in this NIL era because guys have already been played? The teams are now more focused on finding guys that just love football?
That would be interesting if we added that because of NIL. Maybe it's come to life a little more because of NFL and all the when you make a change. And I always say this. I think Sean McVay would say a good story. I think one time when he was a young coach and he went to maybe interview, I forget which tight end, and the guy ended up being a really good player. And it might have been Niles Paul, who played tight end for them in Washington all those years. And Sean says, I was trying to ask him if he loved football. You know what I mean? And basically got down to money. And I think Niles asked Sean, hey, would you coach for free? So I don't want to ever make money that you don't love football. But I do think we're always trying to find out if someone truly loves football. Because if you truly love football, if you truly love something, whether it's football, whether it's you, Pat, in this show,
hell yeah.
If you love something, if you're passionate about it, you're probably going to suffer, right? You're going to go through stress and drudgery, right? To have the Pat McAfee Show be one of the best that it can be. That's because you love it. Same for football players. If they love the game, if they love their team, they're going to suffer. They're going to sacrifice. They're going to give a little, and that usually then compounds over time with all the behaviors that go into being a pro and not just being right on the depth chart or not just hanging around. If we call it eating food but not producing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, waste of laundry detergent. The whole how do you know if a guy's a dog or not?
Yeah.
That's a great question. What is even the definition of dog? We even say sometimes,
Jared
hey,
Verse.
dog, is it a DAWG or
Yes.
a DOG?
Yeah.
Right? And if you're in a football locker room, you kind of know it. Yeah. And I do think there is this blend of a dog, a positive dog, a net positive DAWG. I think there's an element of their behavior Monday through let's call it Monday through Saturday. But a lot of times you do see that dog come to life. I think someone mentioned on your show, Jared Verse, right? When you watch Jared Verse, when we were playing, the Vikings at Arizona in that playoff game because of these fires, right? I think anyone who tuned into that game would go, wow, Jared Verse, that defensive line, there's some dogs on that line, and I give that net positive.
Yeah, I think that's a net positive as well. You saying DAWG or DOG, if you've ever been in a building, you know the answers to these things. I'll see a graphic every once in a while, and they'll say DOG on it, and I'm like, we're not talking about we're not talking
every now and then we say, you know what, someone's just a pup, and they're growing into being, they're not quite, they're growing into their feet.
Let's talk about your dogs on the D-line.
AJ's smiling right now. He's going, you know what? I remember this guy. He got highly drafted back when we were the Packers. And you know what? He was just a pup. He wasn't there yet. We still had him on the league. You could just, I could see a smile. I'm not going to ask you to say who came to your mind first, AJ.
Yeah, who
Somebody
was it?
did.
Who was it? That's a good question, actually.
That's a great question. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell. I have a hard time telling if someone does love ball or not, but I think sometimes people can oversell it verbally that they love ball, for sure. You can tell by their actions and how they carry themselves.
Les, did you know that AJ Hawk and Kuhn, the fullback, for what? How many years? 9 years?
A lot of years.
Yeah, 8 or 9.
8 or 9 years in the CTE era. Okay, 8 or 9 years. AJ, middle linebacker, him fullback. For 8 or 9 years together as teammates, not one time did either of them say, hey, today we don't have to go full go.
Jeez.
Wednesday, Thursday, I assume Fast Friday, you guys weren't doing that though, right?
No. We were smart. We took care of each other.
No, you didn't. That's exactly what you said you didn't do.
Brother-in-law?
Wednesday, Thursday, 8 to 9 years straight, every single week.
Boy.
Think about that.
Inside run?
No thanks.
And that's what
Look at John Kuhn's head. You can't brother-in-law John Kuhn. Look at his head. Like he knows one speed.
But whenever you say people can sell that they love ball better than they can show it, it's like 8 to 9 years straight running your head into a guy who's got loves ball. Mm-hmm. You know, you are looking for dogs that love ball. And you talked about that D-line. Hembo just sent over some stats here to put you over. Most sacks, including playoffs. From the 2023 draftees, number 1, Will Anderson has 22 and a half sacks. Number 2, Kobe Turner, 20 and a half sacks. Number 3, Byron Young, 17 sacks. Well, how about the 2024 draftees? This is most sacks, including playoffs. Braden Fisk, 10. Jared Verse, 6.5. Nobody else near them. So 4 out of 5 there are your picks. Feels like you got the D-line figured out. Feels like that is, which we talked to McCarthy during draft night, Mike McCarthy. He said you need 4 1s at D-line. You need 4 1s. You need to be able to do 4-7. Obviously, that's what the Eagles were able to do on defense. D-line, very important, obviously. And why do you think you have such a high hit rate?
We've always valued defensive line. We knew we needed to continue valuing, especially when Aaron Donald did decide to retire. I think I mentioned it the last time I was on this show that, you know, with those guys you just mentioned, we spent 5 top 100 picks on 4 players. So whether they're 1s, 2s, what we do know is, you know what, they're our type of guy. They're DAWGs. They get up the field. They definitely try to create a little stress and drudgery on the QB. But we do think philosophically, the way the game is, that if you can, especially as the game goes over, if it's 60-something plays that each team usually gets, and especially when you play against these elite QBs, if you can have some players up front that causes that QB, that offensive clock to maybe get a little bit discombobulated, you got a better chance of beating that team than you don't.
I'd say so. Yeah.
You know what? Talk about love in football, though. Think about Kobe Turner. Kobe Turner goes, I'm going to walk on at Richmond. Okay, we're not University of Virginia, not Virginia. I'm going to Richmond.
Beast.
And then he does what he does at Richmond. He says, I'm going to go to Wake Forest. And then he's not even going to get invited to the combine. So, oh, by the way, we're going to make the pick. But that's someone who loves football. That he didn't have to play. No one paid his education to play. He decided, I love it so much, I'm going to Richmond to walk on. And every one of those defensive linemen, and even the young man we drafted from Michigan the other night, Josiah Stewart, they all started at let's call it a lesser level of football. Whether it was Verse at Albany, whether it was Fisk at Central Michigan, Western Michigan, I'm going to get that wrong. Whether it's BY at Georgia Military, whether it's Josiah Acosta, they all loved it enough that they were going to let's go to the Power Fives to start. They didn't have that op. Let's go somewhere first and then let's transfer up. So that's one of the positives of the transfer portal per se.
I'll tell you what, that might be a good trait to be looking for actually at certain positions.
Yeah.
You know, like having to grind through that and wanting it. That's a want to type thing there. That's a great trait to have, especially if you're looking for people that love football. It's working for you. Kobe Turner walked on at Richmond, you said. Now 20 and a half sacks, okay, in his first 2 years. Pretty good. How about 0-star Cam Ward?
I don't know if you saw him either. He can sing pretty good.
Really?
I think he did.
Yeah, he was on
you
Mad
got to go
Singer.
back to Mad Singer. Go Go pull out the Google highlights,
Masked.
YouTube, wherever you go to get your highlights.
Did he win?
He
I
dominated
believe
Matt's, but he's
was,
got an
yeah.
opera voice. This guy could be he could be, I guess we call it what, in New York, Broadway.
So he's
got a Broadway career after this.
He's a dog with Broadway pipes.
Yeah, he won.
I tell you what, there's not many of those humans on the planet.
No.
Like DAWGs that can do Broadway too. That's rare. We're rarefied air.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why you do the research before the draft.
Exactly.
A hell of a combo.
Just him and Tom Cruise.
Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise, Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, sure.
Did
Mike
he win?
Rowe.
Did he win?
I'm pretty sure he won, yes, in 2023. Yeah, if this is
He won. I should know this, but he, you know what I mean? He, whatever. I don't know if I'd have dressed up like this, but you know what? Power to him.
like 90%.
He did a Lakers national anthem at the Lakers game, and that's worth a listen.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If y'all are sitting there and you're on your show and you're like, oh, geez, we're an hour, however many, and this thing's getting a little dull, pull out a Kobe Turner national anthem from the Lakers, and you know what? Maybe you get a little ratings bump there at the end.
Do you watch the show?
I do not watch the Mads. Oh,
No,
your
our
show or
show.
Mads thing?
This show.
You know what? The interesting thing, I don't necessarily tune into it, but you get a lot of clips from it.
Yeah.
So, and it's on in the building at times, so you'll pass by.
Yeah.
But
You're
you're not
said,
yet just, hey, must see TV for myself yet.
Okay, no, I understand.
But a lot of people send me clips of you.
No, but when you say, like, when you have the down times and you need to fill, sound like you weren't a
Yeah.
watcher.
Yeah.
Because there are times.
coming up,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're staring it down, brother. We're about 5 minutes away from it. So that would be a perfect time. I mean, if you want to add EP, executive producer, to your title, you can certainly do that. Not a bad thing. Maybe we do salute the United States of America with Kobe Turner whenever there's a downtime. That's a brilliant idea and a brilliant concept. I appreciate you bringing it. I can't wait for the first time we all stand for Kobe Turner, guy who has 20 and a half sacks over the last 2 years. All right, last question for you here. Les Snead, we appreciate the hell out of you. Go ahead,
I
D-Bud.
don't think Les is watching too much TV with
Lot of film.
that mad singer. Yeah, he's locked in. But I believe this is your 14th year now in charge of personnel over there with the Rams, winning this GM in Rams history. Is there any particular lesson or book or maybe anything early on that kind of stood out to you in your tenure that you took and you kind of hold on to now?
Oh, man, there's plenty of the lessons I've learned on the job are usually, let's call it mistakes. So you gotta figure out why there was a mistake and you apply it. I'll bore you. This is probably not a McAfee subject. Probably the one book that I've kind of lived by. It's called Good to Great, Jim Collins. So Jim Collins was a professor at Stanford, but he was a big business writer back in the day. Wrote this book, Good to Great. Studied a lot of companies that had a really good run. Let's call it in terms of stock. And let's say maybe I forget how many years. And they had a good, let's call it a decade of good company, and then somewhere along the way they took it to great. And so what he tried to research is the lessons of how you go to good to great, which we all know those are you're now in the margins, so that's harder to do. It's probably easier to go from average to good than it is to go to good to great. So that's probably the book that I've always held on, try to reread once a year. Been fortunate to get to know Jim, mentor of mine, but maybe not McAfee content. Don't want to, you know what I mean? Jim Collins and WWE doesn't really
greatness.
Really
Level 5 leader.
Yeah, we had the second largest book club maybe on earth behind Oprah. Congratulations to her. She had a great book club. We had the Aaron Rodgers book club for numerous years. Greatness is not a function of circumstance. Greatness, it turns out, is largely a matter of conscious choice and discipline. Jim Collins. That's a bar.
There you go.
That's a bar right there.
I bet you AJ's got a copy of that on the bookshelf behind him.
Pull it out.
Well, not on this
Whip
bookshelf,
it out.
but actually,
Come on, AJ.
my college coach, Jim Tressel, actually had us read that when I was in college. Great book. No, I just have Ayn Rand back here. Atlas Shrugged, Aaron Rodgers' recommendation.
Oh, that's a great one as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
You're an avid reader, huh?
Have you ever read old Atlas Shrugs, Pat? That's a good summer read. And I mean, I bet you.
Summer.
Yeah,
I've seen the Instagram when you were doing your Hawaii vacation. Maybe I bet you had old Ayn Rand there laying beside you.
Yeah. Books. Me and books have a
Sun
tough
Tzu.
relationship. Yeah, Sun Tzu, rest in peace. When I found out that Sun Tzu was dead, I was devastated. What a book, Art of War. And I've only seen excerpts out of that thing, but the excerpts that I've seen, I get it. I get what he's saying.
Rich Paul's
Rich Paul's book.
the memoir.
A memoir.
Memoir, if you will.
Bill's book coming out. Bill's book.
And also, let's not get it twisted. Have you ever read anything from
Miss Heffernan?
Margaret Heffernan?
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well,
Les.
let me teach you something about books.
Yeah, let's go.
Uncharted here, okay? How to Navigate the Future by Margaret Heffernan, okay? Is a great book because every day we're thinking about the future. You know, every day we're thinking about the
The
future.
future's uncertain, so
Oh, it certainly is. But,
uncertainty brings anxiety. Let's go.
oh, well, but also decisions, you know, uncertainty brings decisions.
Flip to that page.
And then if you really dive into it, it's just figuring out the whole life. The issue with me having this book is I thought it was this book, you see, The Art of Winning by Bill Belichick.
Oh.
So I was sent the wrong book with the wrong cover just yesterday. And I'll tell you what, I would have never known about Margaret Heffernan, but she makes some good points here.
Yeah.
She's dog.
She makes
You,
some
know,
good
you got to give her publishing company credit for pulling this off. You know, everybody's ordering the Bill Belichick book, and you get Margaret's book. I mean, if you think I gave you a good idea with the Kobe Turner national anthem, somebody deserves a raise in that publishing company.
We need to start putting sleeves around Harry Potter's.
There you go.
Cool.
You know,
That's not a bad idea.
people thinking that. How did this happen? You know the book world well. How would this have happened? Does this happen?
I don't know it. I think that's intentional. Let's go. Let's give them
It's a
credit.
Gary V marketing plan, probably.
It's a left hook. All right, we appreciate the hell out of you. Great draft. Can't wait to see what you do this season, and thank you for taking time.
Always appreciate it. Enjoy being on.
Ladies and gentlemen, the general manager of the Los Angeles Rams, Les Snead.
Yes.